Welcome back, guys, to the 12-minute classroom. And this session of our 12 minutes will be dedicated towards operation commands. Now, because these commands are a little bit more, how do you say, involved. Yes, I think that's a good term. These are more involved commands. We're gonna take it one at a time and not as fast as the last one. Here we have the 12 minutes. We're going into the classroom and then onto operations. So here we are in the classroom, 12 minutes, timer begins now. Okay, so last week or last session, rather, you learned how to draw using simple shapes. And here we have a little house that which we will use for our demo today. So the first operational command is move. Why they're called operation commands is we operate on the entities and we command them to make the entities do something. So the first one is move, and what we do is we can either invoke the command first by saying M, move, and then the assistant asks us to select an object. So for example, we select this triangle right here, and then you're okay with the selection, you commit it by pressing the space bar. So now the object is ready to move. You see the assistant is asking us specify the base point or the displacement. That means how much we're gonna move it. Or visual feedback, you press anywhere, left click, and then you move it. This is also called translation in other softwares, but basically it's you push an object or pull it, whatever you want to do. So when you release the command, see it's asking me here, specify the second point. When you release it here, the object, the entity becomes translated into that position. So very simple, right? Next, we have the rotate command, which is can be invoked by RO or, of course, typing it all out. Rotate works, or R. That's wrong. R is wrong. RO is rotate. See, sorry about that. So if you want to rotate something, you can, like before, you can invoke the command, but an alternative is to first choose what you want to use the operation on and then invoke the command. This is generally how you will be doing it eventually. So for example, I choose this square here, and then I invoke rotate by pressing RO and then spacebar, and then it asks us the base point of the rotation. For example, we want it here at the lower left edge or point, and then specify the rotation angle. Because we can do that, we can input an angle in numbers, like if we want 30 degrees, we can do that. But for now, visual feedback, you move it like this. So it uses the base point as a pivot, and then you can tell it to, like, if you want to move it that much or rotate it that much rather, you just release the command and then you have a rotated square over here. Next we have copy, which is very common. You'll be using this a lot because this is one of the main advantages of CAD over traditional drawing. Because, for example, we have here the square that's rotated right now, and we want to make multiples of it, you can select it and invoke copy, CO. See, I didn't make a mistake there, unlike R. And then specify base point or displacement, the same as move. Basically, this is a move command, but you leave the original one in place. So you pick a point that becomes the reference for the computer, and then you release the command. But releasing it is not just clicking it on the mouse, because when you click it on the mouse, the command is not stopped yet. Copy is a command that goes on that requires you to actually release it, unlike move earlier or rotate, because in the past, copy had a second command that you needed to enter if you wanted to do this, but now they integrated it because they thought probably that commonly when you're copying something, you want multiples of it, not just a single one. So we can, with a single copy invoke, we can actually create a lot of these squares over there. See? And when we release it by pressing escape or spacebar. So now we have a bunch of squares here, rotated squares. So that's move, rotate, and copy. Actually, I was supposed to do it like move, copy, and rotate, but it works that way similarly as well. Next, we have mirroring. Mirroring is basically creating a copy, but mirrored. So for example, we have here the triangle. It's looking mighty like a pyramid right there. And we want to create its reverse. So we're gonna make it basically into an hourglass. So what we do is we can invoke the command mirror by mi, the first two letters, and then selecting our first mirror point, we can do it anywhere actually. Like we can mirror it from here to there. So you can see that the mirror line mirrors everything that you selected, and mainly because we want it to be an hourglass figure, we want this to be straight. And in order to make sure that that is straight, we can, here, over here at the bottom, there's something called an ortho mode, which is, you can trigger this with F8. So if you press F8, you can only move on the orthographic planes. So that's X and Y. And there you have it. It's the reverse. So if we want to make it a true hourglass, we can just move it. But the command is not yet over. It's asking us here if we want to erase the source object. Normally it's on no, that's the default. So you just press space or space, because if you press escape, the tendency of the program is to think, oh, you did not want to mirror, so it will forget that you are trying to do that. So that's another difference of the escape and the spacebar or enter commit or release triggers. So for example, again, we'll do that later. Let's move this first. So there. Now it's a perfect hourglass shape right there. If you want to release orthographic, you just press it down here. See? So after mirror, we have offset. Now, offset is pretty useful for architecture and drafting because it allows you to create a copy, another copy, but reduced in size or enlarged depending on where the offset you want the offset to happen. So we'll do it with this diamond shape here. If we command offset O, so we only need the first letter for this one, it asks us an offset distance and other things. So we can do this via visual feedback, and we will do it first this way because we will go into precision later. So we want it to offset by from here until this much. So that has become the offset value, and now it's asking us what do we want to offset. So we want to offset this diamond, so we click it, and then the computer, the program shows us what happens if we click, whether it's inside or outside. The offset happens either way. So we offset it inside, and then there you go. Like copy, offset is a command that you can use continuously until you release it. So you can keep offsetting. You can offset other things, not just the one that we were offsetting earlier. And yeah, you can continue it until you know, don't want to anymore. So you just press the space bar or the escape key to release it. So we still have 30 seconds. The next command, trim and extend, are a pair. So should we? Okay, yeah, let's include it here. So trim and extend requires a reference, a boundary. So we will create one first. So we're gonna make a polyline from here to here, and then make a triangle out of that. So let's just ignore that for now. The timer just went off. We'll just finish it with trim and extend. Trim, the command is tr, and then this, it wants us to choose a trimming object. So this one, the first object that you will choose will be like your scissors or cutters. So for example, we choose this triangle we just created. It becomes our cutter. And then how do we want to trim it? You just, right now you just choose. You choose what will be trimmed off. The side that you don't choose will be left alone. So for example, this triangle, this biggest triangle here crosses the cutter 2 points. If we cut it this way, the outside, only the inside is left. Alternatively, if we cut it inside, the outside is left. Now, extend works differently because it's the reverse of the command. Extend, first you choose a, like in trim, whatever you choose becomes the cutter. In extend, whatever you choose becomes like a boundary where the extend will hit. So it becomes a wall that the extend command will try to hit. So for example, we invoke extend here by ex, and then ask us to choose an object, our wall. You will choose this top one, and then We will commit it. So now this wall is being um, it's being watched by the program. So if we select an entity that points towards it that can attach to the wall, it will just push it over to that wall. So like so. Do we have another free entity? No, there's none. So for example, we create another one. We create a line over here. And then once again, we invoke extend, choose this, and then press spacebar to commit it. So now we have our wall, and then we can extend this line over there. Why they're twins is because if you keep extending and you have extend selected, when you press shift, the wall becomes a scissor. And then uh, you can then invoke the trim command without going to that command. And it works both ways. So for example, right now, I press shift. You can see it here. I'm pressing it. I'm holding it down. And then I choose this. It becomes a trim command. And then if I release it and I press it again, it becomes the extend command once more. And that's it for now. That's a little bit over, but trim and extend are a pair, and we had a little bit of time there, so we just put it there. All right. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you and take care. Bye bye.